I got some exciting stuff for you today, guys. Okay, let's talk about the birth of Abraham. When was it? Because there's a controversy over this. Some people say 1948 because of Genesis 11. Some people say that he was born in 2028 a.m. if you go by Acts 7. Okay? So let's solve this debate. Okay? Let's solve it. And it can be solved. And, you know, I woke up yesterday morning with this on my mind. Like, God had put the 205 in my mind, and, you know, it's something I'd been thinking about for a while. And I was like, you know, Lord, help me get to the bottom of this today. Help me figure it out, you know. And he sure did, because if you ask the Lord, he'll do it. He'll teach you. Okay? So, you know, so I dug in. And so if you get to looking, you'll see that the Talmud says that Abraham was 52 in 2000 a.m. Okay, well, that would put his birth at 1948 a.m. Okay, but some people say the Talmud isn't a good source. Okay, so I'm not going to argue that. Okay, well, we'll just toss that one to the side. Then you look in the book of Jasher chapter 7, verses 50 and 51. And that tells you that Terah was 70 when Abraham was born. Okay, well, some people argue that, which that would be 1948, but some people argue that that isn't a good source either. Okay, so let's toss that one to the side. Then you dig in the book of Jubilees. Okay, the book of Jubilees is a little different because that was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, so we can prove that's an ancient text. So you dig in there, and it says Abraham was born in the book of Jubilees, chapter 11, verses 14 and 15. It says that Abraham was born during, you know, the span of the 39th Jubilee. Okay, well, that would be from 1900 to 1950 a.m., right? Because the Jubilee's 50 years. Okay, so that puts it right in the same time period as 1948. Well, then it gives you a specific date. Okay, it tells you that at 1876 a.m. Okay, well, then you're like, where do they get that from? Because that ain't even far enough along to be the 39th Jubilee, right? So what are we missing here? And this is where the Holy Spirit kicked in. He's like, you know, remember that some people say that maybe they didn't count the Jubilees. And then I was thinking, okay, let's add 1 year for each Jubilee. If they don't count the actual year of Jubilee, the year of rest where everything's returned to the original owners and everything, okay? So I was like, let's add 39. So we had 39, and then you're still not there. And you're like, okay, well, it's still off. So where's the other years? And then the Holy Spirit's like, you know, Jesus was the second Adam. And, you know, and then so some people believe that the time that Jesus was here represent the same amount of time that Adam was in the garden. So I was like, well, what if they didn't count the time that Adam was in the garden, right? So then I was like, well, let's add the time that Jesus was here, the time that, you know, maybe Adam was in the garden. And so I added 33 and a half years, and that puts you right at 1948. Bam! And you're like, whoa, you know, revelation. You know, it's amazing. You know, that makes you jump up and down. You're like, you know, here it is. We figured it out. You know, God is amazing like that. And he sure did reveal it to me. And then, you know, and some people believe that Jesus walked a full 34 years, which if that's the case, that wouldn't pose a problem either, because if he was born in 1948 and during that 39th Jubilee span, if they hadn't actually reached the 39th Jubilee yet, there wouldn't be that extra year. So at that point, you would add, you know, 34 plus 38 plus 1876, and that would equal 1948 too. I mean, come on, guys. What's the odds of that? The odds of that happening by accident are just way far out there. I mean, come on. This right here just shows me, without a doubt, it proved to me that Abraham was born in 1948. So then at that point, you're like, well, what about Acts 7 then? Because that states he didn't leave till his father died. So you got to dig in there. And then what do you figure out? The word father there is the same word used for like Father Abraham. Okay. And that word can be used for anyone in your ancestor line of importance, someone of importance in your ancestor line. And who do we know that lived 350 years after the flood and died near that time? That is Noah. And how important would he be? People would definitely consider him their father, right? So I believe it was Noah that's being talked about in Acts 7, because that puts him right at around 17 years before Abraham left for the promised land that Noah would have died. So, that solves that issue. Now, don't take my word for it. Dig in, figure it out for yourself. But, if you ask me, that's a whole lot of evidence pointing towards 1948 as Abraham's birth. I have no doubt now. Zero. That's it. Oh, and before I forget, I want to add that since Abraham was born in 1948, he left for the promised land 75 years later. That's 2023. And I believe that to be a prophecy of when we will be leaving for the promised land. Okay? We're in 2023, guys. We are there. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.